breaking news, and joining us on the phone right now is Orlando Sanchez. Orlando served for 6 years on Houston's City Council and was elected as treasurer for Harris County for 12 years. And now, as of this morning, just about an hour and 10 minutes ago, he's running for Harris County judge. Orlando, welcome to Hello Houston.
Good morning, Celeste, Frank, and Ernie.
Hello, Orlando.
Hi, welcome to Hello Houston.
So you're throwing your hat into the ring. Guts or glory?
Well, as we say in Texas, ain't my first rodeo.
No. No. So but why do you want this particular corral, I'd like to know?
You know, Frank, I have served in a nonpartisan position at the city of Houston. Actually, I was the first Hispanic immigrant ever elected citywide in Houston. And then I had the honor of serving 12 years overseeing the investments and the expenditures of the county as county treasurer. And when I was county treasurer, our books were balanced. We were reducing our debt. We had money at the end of every fiscal year. And as all of you know, today, Harris County is $275 million in debt and growing.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think Anise Parker would make the same argument with her experience, and I think that's at least one of the contenders you're going to be facing from the Democratic Party, and you're going to, I guess, run as a Republican. How do you meet her head on?
Well, Anise and I were desk mates for 4 years as city council members. Mm-hmm. She has similar experience. She was the city controller while I was the county treasurer. Of course, Anise went on to be mayor. I lost the mayoral contest in 2001 very narrowly when I ran against Lee Brown. So our management philosophies are similar. Here's the issue. Harris County now is a plurality Hispanic community. We're the largest community in the United States with the largest number of immigrants. And I tell people all the time, what does Hidalgo, Ramirez, Gonzalez, Garcia, and Briones all have in common? They're all Hispanic, all elected countywide or in their respective precincts. So the county is shifting over to a more Hispanic participation in government. And so it'll be a very lively, contested debate for the position of county judge. I can tell you I have a lot of respect for Anise Parker. We've been friends for years before either one of us in public life. I knew her when she was in the private sector. She knew me when I got started in politics. So the citizens of the Harris County voting population are going to have to decide the race between Anise Parker and Orlando Sanchez.
You know, Orlando, as you said, given the fact that you just said and talking about this shift within Harris County, how are you going to basically move forward with one of the issues that you have, which is I will begin the elimination of mandatory DEI training and left-wing employment practices on day one. And that is from your website, basically saying you're going to end wasteful practices. How do you reconcile those two things, given that we are such a diverse area and county?
Well, Celeste, you know that I started the largest Hispanic political action committee in Texas. I've been responsible for electing dozens and dozens of young conservatives across the state of Texas. We won 2 national awards for our polling. And just on Tuesday in Austin at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, we released the results of our 2025 poll. Hispanics are not aligned with a lot of the very left-leaning positions. In other words, open borders, defunding the police, too much consideration for ethnic groups. In other words, Hispanics are focused on the economy, access to health care, improving the life of their families, and they're not so much worried about these policies of DEI, which, by the way, are scraping a lot of money out of the county funds to fund these departments. The Hispanic community and all communities in Harris County want public safety, number one. I was at Crime Stoppers for their annual remembrance of murdered victims. We had 700 victims of murder in Harris County between 2024 and 2025. And so that's what we want to focus on. we have limited tax dollars, so we have to address infrastructure, flooding. We got to quit raiding the toll road authority, and we've got to expand our jail. We have expanded our courtrooms, which means more adjudications, more people going into the jail, but we have no room. So people want to focus on core issues, not DEI, not social engineering. That's not a priority for Harris County residents.
Orlando, I'm curious, the decision to make this run, how was the thought process for you? When did you come to the decision to do it? And what was it that pushed you toward it? Was it simply the fact that you looked at the surnames of these folks and you said, this is the time for a Hispanic to make that move? What were you thinking?
Well, it perhaps, I mean, every candidate looks at numbers, right? We have to figure out, is there a path to victory? What is your path to victory? But, Ernie, you know that ever since I've been in politics, I've had the support of the Hispanic community in Houston. When I ran for mayor of Houston in 2001, the Hispanic portion of the total vote was 7%. We doubled that to 14%. And I got 74% of the Latino vote against Mayor Lee Brown. In 2014, 2015, when I was county treasurer, Ed Emmett and I were the highest vote getters in Harris County. We beat the lieutenant governor, the candidates running for Senate. And so I have a history of attracting and encouraging crossover vote from Latinos that we know historically have voted with the Democrats.
But I guess a little broader, though, besides just simply the fact that you looked and it looked like you could win, what enticed you that this is the office for you, that you thought, you know what, these are the issues I need to address? Of course, the fiscal responsibility portion of it, but what else and why now take this choice? Well, the fiscal responsibility is the most important part. For the last 15 years, I've been overseeing billions of dollars of public money and private sector money. I've been on the board of directors for a bank for 18 years. I was the investment chair and the chairman of the foundation for the University of Houston. We manage over $500 million for the benefit of the colleges and student scholarships. I'm on the board of the largest hospital corporation in America, HCA Hospital, which has many hospitals here in Houston. So the number one driver for me was fiscal responsibility. But beyond that, Ernie, if you drive the city of Houston and you see the massive number of homeless people, we have some important issues to address with mental health in our community. We need to give access to health care to those that are mentally challenged. The county jail is not the position for them. In other words, we can't have the county jail serving the mentally challenged in our community. The rating of the Harris County Toll Road Authority and paying salaries in excess of $450 million, that's more than the President of the United States makes, is unacceptable. So we need to rein in the out-of-control spending, scrub the budget, address public safety, expand our courts, expand our jail, expand access to health care, particularly for the mentally challenged, prepare and make sure that we have enough reserves to handle all the storms that may come our way, hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, you name it. We have to be prepared. Let me just ask this then. In light of what you've just said and your knowledge of finance and balancing and stuff, what did you learn from your campaign when you ran for Houston City Controller against Chris Hollins, and what lessons from that will help you in this campaign?
Well, let me tell you, there were several candidates in the race, among them some conservative candidates, not the least of which was a sitting city council member from Kingwood. We eliminated him, and Chris and I went into a runoff. From a purely campaign perspective, Chris outraised me by 10 to 1. Chris had about $2.2 million to dump into his campaign, Ernie, and I had about $250,000, so I was severely overspent. But in spite of that, I received over 70,000 votes in the city of Houston. So that leads me to believe that I continue to have good name identification, not only in the city of Houston, but Harris County. And every candidate that runs for office looks for an advantage. And one of the advantages I have, of course, is not only having served honorably in all of my positions, but I have high name recognition.
Orlando, I've always admired how some mayors and county judges really get along and work together in the past, which is not something I've seen recently. So you as a Republican, John Whitmire as a Democrat, how are you going to work that relationship?
Extremely well. I've known John Whitmire ever since his early days in the Senate. In fact, he's my neighbor, lives 5 blocks from me. I live in Rice Military. I won't, of course, disclose where the mayor lives for the obvious reason. I see the mayor at Memorial Park when we jog. We've sat together at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. I've worked with him in the legislature before. I've been to his office, presented him issues that were facing Harris County. John is interested in the well-being, and I say that not disrespectfully, but Mayor Whitmire has had the interest of Houston and Harris County for many years. He was a leader in the state legislature when it was time to build prisons. If all of you remember that in the 1980s, during the Tracy G. murder and the Pena and Earhart murders, when gangs were running out of control, the Southwest Cholos, it was John Whitmire who led the charge to expand the prison system in the state of Texas so that we wouldn't have to parole violent offenders that were coming to Houston. So I think John Whitmire and myself are aligned on the criminal justice issues. As you all know, I served 12 years as a member of the bail bond board of Harris County when defendants were held accountable and actually showed up to court because several people had skin in the game. That is, if they didn't show up to court, the bail bondsman lost the money and the family of the defendant lost the money. Today we have, in some courts, over a 90% no-show rate.
Orlando, I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more from you over the coming months. This race isn't going to totally be decided for quite a while yet, so it's going to be an interesting time. Good luck, and thank you for sharing with us so soon after you're announced.
Yeah.
It's great to be with the icons of Houston. Thank you.
Well, you're nice.
Well, then we won't keep you from them any longer.